Hello, this is Jamaica 5288. How are you guys doing today? It's a little rainy out here today, so I pulled in some of the seeds that I planted. So I looked out in the yard and I thought about last year. And you know what survived during the summer, during the winter, fall, spring? Kale. And I looked and I said I had 6 kale planted out there. 2 that I overwintered. One is going to seed and the other one is on its way out. So kale is a biennial, so it'll only last you 2 years. So you have to replant it every 2 years. But it will go through a Texas summer, spring, winter, and it went through our winter. I mean, it did not die. That was the one plant I left out. I left 2 of them outside, and they both survived. One was in a planter and one was in the ground. Both look just fine at the end of the winter. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to replant some kale. So I have some of my old pots or my old little potted plants because you know I reuse these things. I know they're a little dirty, but I'm going to get dirt on them again. I'll wipe them off after we finish. And I brought some soil in here. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to repot them. So I put a little bit of soil in here. Let me fill this thing up to the edge. And by edge, I mean up to the bottom edge right here. There's a delineating line here. It's about 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the top so I can get water in there. And one by one, I'm going to get these little baby kale out of here. And I'm going to put them into their new home. So I have one here. You have to be real careful with them because they have little roots. And they were outside, so they're already hardened off. I don't have to worry about that, but I do have to worry about them being overcrowded. So hence what we're doing today, repotting them. Some of them won't make it, but most of them will. You know, I always say that, right? And it always happens. So this one looks a little weak on the root end, but I'm gonna cover that up and see if it can repair itself. So that's one down. There it is, baby kale. Get another pot. Put a little bit more soil in here. Scoop it out underneath the roots. I'm trying to go underneath where I think the roots are, and I'm just pulling them up out of the dirt, right? Just scooping them up. Scoop. Uh-oh, they're all tangled up. I tried to space these out in this container, but you know, with small seeds, it's kind of hard to do that. I did the best I could. So I have one here, right? This one looks really strong. Put that there. I'm gonna get some wet soil. This has been wet by the rain that's going on here in Texas right now. And I'm gonna cover the root part up without damaging the plant. Take these big old logs out. For the plant, it's a log. For me, it's a little stick, but these are babies, remember. So I got that one in. 2 done. There's another one here. Oh, I gotta get some dirt. Follow the process, Jamaica. Follow the process. So I hope you all are having a great day. It's really quiet here. Today is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. And if you get this after Mother's Day, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. We should call it Mother's Year because mothers do a lot of work. I mean, fathers too. Fathers work a lot, but mothers are more, you know, usually more of the intimate person in your house. You know, the one you can try to get their viewpoints and life experiences from. I mean, of course, boys are going to ask their fathers for stuff and girls are going to ask their fathers for stuff. But if you want the heart version, in most cases, go to your mom. She'll know. She'll know the emotional based reasons why people do things, or you know, some give you advice. Usually mothers are on your side no matter what. No matter what. Yeah, a lot of people, they trust their mother more than they trust a lot of people. A lot. And there's a reason for that. It's a good reason for that. So here we go. Get that apart. And to you dads who are functioning as mother and father, happy Mother's Day to you too. You deserve an applause. Because there are men I have met who are taking care of their children alone. And for various different reasons, but they're doing it by themselves and they're functioning as a mother and a father. So, happy Mother's Day to you too. Oh boy, here we go. And I'm tamping it down, getting it done as usual. The plants outside are getting big. They're starting to produce fruit. I got a couple of string beans out of there, and I've been harvesting Swiss chard, all the time. My chickens apparently like Swiss chard, so they've been helping me out. Not that I want them to help me out, going through the Swiss chard. I give it to them sometimes. If I don't have anything else and any other weeds that are coming up, not that Swiss chard are weeds, but if I don't have anything else that's coming up and I want to give them some veggies, I go ahead and give them some Swiss chard. So we're putting the mud in. I never cover the table. It's so scratched up. It's so scratched up. Oh my God! This is what I use it for, planting. I don't eat here. I told you that. We eat at the bar or on the couch. Hope none of you ever come to visit. We'll put you in the other dining room if you come to visit, and we're gonna eat something, because you'll be like, isn't that the table you had all that mud on, girl? Everything comes from mud. Everything, life is developed through mud. Even we need mud because we eat this, and they come from mud. So, I'm just cutting out the middleman. All right, I got another one here that's leaning to the side. They were out in the rain, so they got beat down a little bit, but it's okay. It's still raining on and off today. It's May. They say April showers bring May flowers, but it seems like May showers bring June flowers. Out here in Texas, we didn't have that much rain in April. We're having a lot now, and I'm happy. I'm so happy, because I don't have to go out there and water my plants, and rainwater is better than the city water that I'm getting. It's not treated, it's natural, and the plants thrive with rainwater. Here we are. So, one of my many next projects is to put a rain barrel out there and try to collect it from the rooftop. Someone told me that I couldn't do it, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. The water bill has went up, and rainwater will reduce the cost that we spend, the amount of money we spend on water out here, versus it going into the ground or drying up and going back up into the sky. We can collect it and use it for the plants, and the plants love it. Love it. Here we are. Oh boy, I don't know how many seeds I put in there, but it must have been a lot. I didn't throw the whole pack in there because here it is. This is still full. I don't know how many seeds they put in it, but it's more than 100. I didn't plant 100, but it looks like I planted at least, 20, 30 of them. I tried to reduce the number of seeds I put in the planter. I learned from my mistakes of just dumping a whole bunch of seeds into a planter, and then I have an overabundance of plants, and then it's hard for me to take care of it, or they just suffer. They don't get the attention they deserve when you're overwhelmed in your yard. Sometimes you get the stuff and it's already flowered, and the fruit is gone, the birds got it, just because you're overwhelmed, you can't get to everything. So I try to do what I can do, and I try to plant things that I actually like. Example, I planted some radishes. Now, some people like radishes because they're a quick crop. They grow. You get a radish within 20 to 30 days, depending on the radish. Well, the ones I plant are 30 days. But I don't like radishes. So when they ripen, I'm like, oh, a radish. Yay. And then I'm like, do I have to eat that? So I don't play. I'm not gonna buy them anymore. I'm not gonna buy anything that I or we, because I'm not the only one in here, but we do not like, and nobody else cares for radishes. I remember when I was a kid, the only time my mom and my family would buy radishes was on Thanksgiving. It was like one of those, hors d'oeuvres that they had. They had like little carrots, the pickles, the radishes, and cucumbers, and they had a little tray out with some ranch, dressing in the middle. Well, I don't know what produced, why my mom, it was just like a special occasion thing. But I don't like radishes. So why am I planting them? Why? If somebody else in here wants radishes, they could plant them themselves. And I'm not, and nobody else likes them. So who am I planting them for? Just for the sake of saying I got radishes? I say that to say, plant things that you like to eat. Other time wise, you're just wasting your time. And I forced myself to eat the radishes a couple of times because I was like, well, I planted them. And I'm going to eat them. No. A couple of times I just threw it in the trash. I couldn't do it. I took a bite and it started burning my esophagus. I was like, why are you torturing yourself like this, girl? Why? I don't like that feeling. For those of you who like radishes, that's cool. Now, there might be one way that I do like radishes, and that is pickled radishes. Now, I don't know how to pickle them, so until I learn how to do that, I ain't growing them no more. I think I got a couple more packs of seeds out there. I'll probably trade them off with somebody else because they're not my thing. I'm not putting down the radish game, but everybody has things that they just don't like. And radishes is one of them for me. Even though I like hot food, it's not that it's hot, because it's not hot. It's just, it stings your throat on the way down. That's what gets me. I don't know what it is. It's not hot, because I like hot food. So that's not it. But radishes, man. Ugh. It's a different kind of sting. The sun is out. Woo! My dog got out this morning, so I go and wash my hair, which is a task in and of itself, right? So I decide, my female dog, she's nice because you've seen her on videos walking around and doing her thing, and she always stays close to me. Well, my male dog, he listens unless there's a rabbit around. So I let him out this morning, try to be nice to him, right? And he saw a rabbit, and he chased that rabbit into the darkest, scariest corner of the yard. I had to go. Then he got stuck because I have a stick pile in that corner where I just throw all the brush in that corner, and I'll make that on my compost pile eventually. And he went in there. So here I am, going through the wilderness of the corner of the yard, hoping there's no snakes in there. And he's stuck. He's stuck back there crying, right? And because there's a prickly bush back there also. There's a prickly bush, there's a Arizona cypress, and there's a crepe myrtle. Mostly Arizona cypress. And Arizona cypress, they get really bushy, right? And so he's back there crying. I'm in a sundress, just out of the shower. My hair was already done. I was ready for my day, right? So he goes back there and starts crying and gets stuck. Me, being the dog mom that I am, I go back there and try to save him. He's stuck back there getting stuck up, right? Now I'm back there getting stuck up, praying to God that I did not get bit by a snake. So I finally get back there, right? And I got him out. I drug him out of there by his collar. And he's a big dog. He came willingly. He just didn't know how to get out. He was just getting, he could bear the pain of going in there and getting stuck up going to chase the rabbit. But he couldn't bear the pain of coming out. So he just laid down in this briar patch. That's what it was, basically, a prickly bush. So I go and drag him out, right? We get out of there. I look like wilderness girls. I got all kind of sticks and looked mess. So I didn't know how bad I looked, and it had hair sticking up. I didn't know how bad I looked, and I had just washed my hair. And you know, if you got ethnic hair, our hair is not easy to moisturize or to wash or to detangle. All of that was done. So I get out of there, and I got all these sticks and stones in my hair, right? I didn't know how bad I looked. I get in the house, and I looked in the mirror, and there was so many twigs and dead branches and all kind of stuff. It looked like I had been homeless for at least 2 years. So you know what I had to do? Go back in the shower and get that stuff out as quickly as possible. I was so mad at him. Then he has a nerve to go and come in the bathroom and try to be all friendly with me. I was like, you know, you need to get away from me for the rest of the day. I almost put him in his kennel, but it was my fault for letting him out. I know that rabbits are out there in the morning. I just felt bad for him because I always let the other dog out. She chases the rabbit, but she does not chase them into the brush. Once they go into the brush, she just lets them go. Now, she has caught a couple, and my dogs, they'll eat rabbits. That's why they're chasing them. They're not chasing them for fun. They're chasing them because they want to kill them. And what I don't understand is, so they'll go and chase the rabbits down, but the chickens, they don't touch them at all. They ignore them. They act like they don't exist. Weird to me. Weird to me. I don't trust them enough to put them in the cage with the chickens, because then, you know, they're German Shepherds. They're sneaky. You don't know. They'll act all nice in front of you, and they'll be a completely different animal when your back is turned. If I put them in that cage, they will probably eat the chickens. I'll find a bunch of feathers, and then I'll be crying, but I won't have anybody to blame but myself, because they're animals, and that's what they do. They do what they do. They are what they are. So I don't put them in there with them. But if I'm outside, they will not touch those chickens. They won't even look their way. So, guess that's a good thing. Except for the fact that he goes into the brush, and I have to go get him. So he's crying back there like a little sissy. Anyway, not that that he's crying back there. That's a childhood name. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. Sorry, but he's crying back there like a little girl. So, here we go. Put this down. Muddy hands. As usual. That's what I should have named my channel, Muddy Hands. I see all these other ladies, they got their gloves on. I mean, if I had gloves on, they would be a mess by now. I'm dealing with mud. They have their gloves on, and they got their sundresses on. I'm like, these people can't be real. This has to be an avatar. People are making avatars and putting them on YouTube. Because their clothes are still clean. Their hair is not one hair is out of place. Me, I get out there, I got dirt on my face, dirt all over. I have to change my clothes, get in the shower, wash my hair sometimes. I mean, I don't have that experience. I don't have that cleanliness in me. I'm just jealous. I'm just jealous because they could do it without getting messy. All right, here we are. Little by little, I am getting there. Little by little. Day by day. Oh, that's a song. Day by day. Day by day. Oh, dear Lord, these things I pray. I want to play that song now, but I can't. I'm on YouTube. They'll get me. I had a video out of Carnival Cruise, and apparently somebody was playing some music in the background, and they said, that's a no-no. Copyright. I deleted that video. Took it down. It's like, man, you got to be so careful. You know, you don't even realize that the music's playing because we're so used to hearing music and noise in the background when we're out there that if we're videotaping, we don't think about it until, most of the time I catch it. Apparently this time I didn't. They caught it though. They're like, yep, copyright. I was like, ooh. This is what everybody's talking about. That was the first time it happened to me. It won't happen again. Not if I can help it. Took that video down. I was like, nope. No, no, no. That is not what I want to do. That is not my intention. I remember when I was younger, we used to make mixed tapes. So one person would go ahead and buy the tape or the album, and everybody would record from their recording. And the artists weren't getting paid for their work. I understand why now. But back then, I was like, what's the big deal? We want a mixed tape. We don't want just that one artist. We want a bunch of them. No. Not a good idea. Artists are not getting their money, and the studio is not getting their money, and they put a lot of money into that stuff. So now that I'm recording and doing all this editing myself, I see that it ain't easy putting, especially when you're putting a music together, that it's not easy to do it, and you should be paid for your work. So I understand the copyright. I don't disagree with it at all. I just, you don't know sometimes. You miss stuff. You miss it. But YouTube catches it most of the time, I guess. Well, they caught mine. Let's see. There we are. Birds are out there chirping. I can hear them. Got one more blue cup. Got one more blue cup and a bunch of these left. There we go. I got you, babe. There you go. Come on over here, mama. Okay, we're gonna have to stop because I need to go and find some more pots, preferably blue. If I can't, I'll just have to get another color. So we're going to go on a recess, a break for you for a few seconds, a break for me until I find some pots. I know where they are, but I don't know if I have blue. Do not know if I have blue. We'll see. So I'll throw this back in here, clean my hands off a little bit, and I'll see you in a second, okay? But I found some blue ones, yay. Let me get these in order so you all can get a good view of what's going on here. Move these out the way. I'm doing by threes this time. I always do them by two. I'm gonna change my style today. And I got these pots if you want to know where I got them from because I use them over and over again. They're really good. Bootstrap Farmer. So you want to buy them from there. That's where I got them from. I wanted pots that I could use multiple times. I mean, for years, because I don't like rebuying stuff or, begging Lowe's for their dead plants so I could use their pots, because usually those pots are not any good. You can only use them like one more time and then they start cracking up on you. So I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17 done. And I have another stack here. So here we go. We turn this thing around to this pod. I'm working my way through the pods, through the little seedings. And this thing is from the Dollar Tree. Y'all know that this is the stackable planter. I use it for multiple things. It doesn't have to stack for me. I mean, just use it for whatever I need it for. If I need it as a planter, that's what I'm gonna do it. If I need it to start my seeds, that's what I use it for. So I got that in here. Got the mud in there. Put my hand under, tuck it under the roots as much as I can so I don't lose much, and then start flaking it away so I can get to the root structure. Two of them really close. Here we go. So I got one in here, some more mud. Put it around the plant without breaking it. I hope that wasn't the plant that snapped like that. This potting mix is full of twigs. It's real good though. Anything I put in this this local Austin soil that they make out here, it reproduces, it grows. It's better to me than, you know, the Miracle stuff. I don't use Miracle because I had a bad experience with it. And I don't think it was them. I think it was the store kept it and insects got in it. And by the time I got it, it was full of insects. I dumped it out. And at that time, I didn't have chickens, or I could have had the chicken scratch through it and get all the bugs out. But there were a bunch of bugs in there, and it was I brought insects into my yard. That ticked me off. So now I buy the one that has been tried and true, the local Austin soil. And it's about the same size. It's just about the same amount of money and size. I think Miracle Grow might be a little bit more expensive, but this works for me. It works for me, and the plants like it. That's all that matters. It's all that matters. Now, I do use Miracle Grow for my orchid mix. I always use Miracle Grow for orchids. Never had a bad experience with that. So, let's go. I think that when they have a high turnover in the store, you get a better products because it doesn't sit there forever. So buying soil that's been sitting there for years or been sitting there for months is not as good as something that they get fresh from the truck. Because this soil, everybody uses it. They use it outside to augment their soil outside. I don't. I just use it for starter mix. But people use it to augment their soil to make it richer. Because it doesn't have the smell that, what is that, the cow stuff, the cow manure has. I remember one time, me and my spouse put some cow manure outside on the grass because the grass was patchy and the Augustine wasn't doing that good that year, right? So I was coming outside, and there's this little girl, my neighbor's little girl, who I did not want in my yard. And she was very, very outspoken. You know how 3-year-olds are. 2-year-old, 3-year-olds. Terrible 2s, terrible 3s, same thing. She looked at me and said, "Your yard stinks." And her father was like, get over here. It's cow manure. She just put it on it's supposed to smell like that. She was holding her nose, and I was like, wow, she was doing too much. I was like, man, you better never ask me to watch that little girl, 'cause I don't want anything to do with her. She's bad news. She insulted me. I knew it stank. That's why I put it out there, because my grass looked good too. After I put that cow manure out there, oh my goodness, everything flourished. But it stunk to high heaven. I didn't care because we usually don't use the front door. We usually come out the garage and keep it moving. we're those type of neighbors. Very quiet, very very. We talked to some of them, but man, she caught me out there. She caught me off guard. Your yard stinks. And held her little nose. Man, kids, out of the mouths of babes. That's like, you look bad, right? You're looking bad that day, and the kid comes up to say, "Oh my God, you're ugly." That is that kind of feeling. I know I'm not having the greatest day, but you ain't gotta tell me. She insulted me. Your yard stinks. As if I didn't already know that. I didn't care. I wanted my grass to grow. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. She doesn't live there anymore, by the way. They moved. She knew I didn't like her after that. And let me tell you another thing she used to do, or they used to do. So it's a subdivision, right? And people in subdivision think that their children have the right to ride their electric cars in the middle of the street. So they go out and they put out these men, children playing sign, that little man walking in the middle of the street. Then you're driving on the street, right? And they're riding their, electric cars and their mini bikes and whatever. And they're basically impeding traffic. They put the little man in the middle of the road. Man, I used to turn that corner. I see her on her little electric car. Her dad had bought her and her sister an electric car. And they were driving. I was like, oh my God. They were driving the street like they had a real car. Except those things only go like 5 miles an hour, maybe 3. I don't know, but not very fast. But she would I would turn the corner, and I know it wasn't just me. And we would look at her, and she would be looking at us like, what? Get out my way. I was like, where are your parents? Why are you out there? Then there was another time, not her parents, but another set of parents. Now this is on a main road leading into the subdivision. They put the little man walking. It's a yellow sign. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a little yellow sign that says children playing. Put it in the middle of the main street leading into the subdivision when everybody's getting off work. Man, talk about being hot. And I'm always looking out for children because I've had bad experiences where like somebody's 2-year-old would get out and get on their Hot Wheel and just jet across the street with their Hot Wheel. And I'm like, where are these people? And sometimes I feel bad for the parents because these kids know how to let themselves out of the house. And they do what they want to do. Lately, people have been watching their children because, they're probably afraid somebody's going to snatch them up. There's, everybody's not a nice person nowadays. So they watch your children more nowadays. But there was a time in the recent past, that there were signs out in the middle of the street, children playing with a little man walking, watch out for children or whatever, in the middle of the main road leading into the subdivision. And you'd see the sign, and then you'd see the children. The sign was true to form. There were children playing, and their parents were the one doing it. Finally, the police had to get involved and tell the parents, you know what, you need to and everybody has a backyard here. That's what gets me. Why? Why would you want, and there is a park. Why would you let your kids play in the middle of the street? Why? Especially in Texas. Many times I've had people almost run into me because they've been drinking. They're on the wrong side of the road. It's a lot of people who drive drunk. Lots. A lot of them. So why would you want your kids to be out there with that and think that little sign is they run over their sign and their kid? Don't put your kid in the middle of the street. Do not put your kid in, especially knowing what I've seen. I had a friend whose son actually got run over by a drunk driver on his bike. I do not drink and drive. I don't do it. Ruined that man's life and his wife. So I don't do it, but don't tempt fate by putting your kid in harm's way by letting them play out in the middle of the street. It's just not a good idea. It's just my little tidbit. All right, so let's go on. Let's keep on going. I don't know how I got on that. Oh yeah, her being in the middle of the street giving me the eyeball. Like, what are you doing driving your car on this block? I own the block. It's my street. You don't go until I say you go. She would stop her little electric car and just sit there as if to taunt you. She was a baby Karen. Karen in the making. She was a Karen. A 3-year-old Karen, a terrorist. I shouldn't say that word, but she was a force to be reckoned with. And it wasn't just me. The other neighbors were complaining too. Like, her kid. The kid is in the middle of the road and I can't get into my house and she won't move out the way. And you can't touch nobody's kid. Don't even talk to anybody's kid. Don't touch my child. Well, ma'am, if you had disciplined your child and talked to her, I wouldn't have to tell her to get out of the road. I think he learned his lesson because one time he let her out, right? And he came out there and she was gone. Gone. He couldn't find her. He was running all over the place. He didn't want his wife to know. He was running all over the place. He told me the story himself, so I'm not making him up. I didn't see him running around like a chicken with his head cut off, but I'm sure he was. He said, because I'll tell you what he told me. So I found some little boys. I was driving down highway. And these 2 babies, one was about 1 and the other one was maybe 2.5, were standing on the side of the road with their dog. So I'm driving with my spouse and I was driving at the time. And I saw the dog jet out in front of a pickup truck, right? So the pickup truck, he's freaked out. So the dog runs off to the other side of the street. So that's what made me see the little boy standing there. There was only one little boy I saw, right? And the dog. And the dog almost getting hit by the truck, by the pickup truck. So the guy with the pickup truck, he swings around, right? Because we saw the little boy at the same time, right? So he swings around and then I swing around. Because I was like, I looked at my spouse and I was like, oh my God, there's a baby on the side of the road. He was like, what? And he was like, oh no, Children of the Corn. That's what he told me. He thought it was one of them demon kids from, one of them movies. He watched too many movies anyway. So I swing around, right? So this little 2-year-old is on the side of the road. And the guy who in the truck, he was Hispanic. He goes and says, there's another one. The dog is gone by now. He said, there's another one. I was thinking, another dog? And he ran into the bushes and pulls this baby out with Pampers on. Now, what I didn't understand was that they were fully dressed. It was wintertime. They had a coat on and everything. So apparently their mom put them in the yard to play and fell asleep. That's what happened. That's what I think happened. So, man, I thought I don't know. I would have been in a straitjacket had I hit the kid or if I had seen the kid get hit, because I don't think I would have been able to handle that. So we're out there. He has the little one and I have the bigger one. Both of them are babies. The one I said, where do you live? And he points across the street. Well, across the street was where his dog went, right? So the Spanish guy and my spouse, they both called the police, right? Police get there and they're taking a report because we don't know who these kids belong to on the highway. And it's farmland behind the highway, so you can't see any houses. So you don't know. The only house I could see was the one that I kept on asking him, where do you live? Where do you live, right? And he kept on pointing across the street to where his dog went. So the police showed up, right? Oh, before the police showed up. Because I do not look like I could be that kid's mom. The baby I was holding had blonde hair, blue eyes. And the Spanish guy, he was a darker Indian. He had Indian type skin. So and they knew that they were not our children. And my spouse, he's dark complected. So they knew These kids could not possibly be ours, and why were we holding them? So, lady, another Karen, she stops on the highway. What are you doing with those kids? And by now, a whole posse of us had formed, right? And we look at her and said, they were on the road. She thought we were trying to steal somebody's children. Why would we be standing on the side of the highway with two Anglo-Saxon kids with blonde hair and blue eyes in front of everybody? Why wouldn't we just put them in the car and take off if we were going to kidnap? That was not what we were going to do. We found them on the side of the road. So finally, this other lady, and there was like 5 of us, 5 cars. We were all crying and upset because, man, this could have been a disaster. I think there was 3 of us. The Spanish guy, me, and another, she was a lady with blonde hair, blue eyes, who looked like she could be, you know, their parent. And she told the Karen, look, we found him on the side of the road. Get back in your car. So finally, Karen goes back in her car and leaves. See, this is why people don't want to help people, because then you get accused of being, you know, abducting a child. So my spouse, he's level-headed because I'm all upset. I didn't know what to do. I was so upset because I saw in my head how this could have turned really, really bad really quick, right? My spouse calls the police, and so does the Spanish guy. So the sheriff shows up. Whew. So the sheriff shows up, and he's taking a report. And this woman who looked like she had just got rolled out of bed comes out there. Oh my God, my children. And the police officer, or the sheriff, he looks at her and says, you go over there and sit in the grass. You just stay right over there. So my spouse gave him, you know, I couldn't even talk. I was so upset because I was driving, and this road, you drive 65 miles an hour. That's the speed limit. And those kids, they would, I mean, they were so small that if that little boy had followed that dog, he would have got hit. So anyway, the CPS calls us and asks us for a report like the day later and everything, and the police officer, he's ticked off at the woman, and she's like coddling. I didn't even want to hand the kid over to her. I was so upset. I was like, man, this is child abuse. I don't know that she put them out there. All I know is, how did that little boy get his coat on and his boots on and his jeans on unless she dressed both of those kids and put them in the yard and figured that they wouldn't go out to the highway with their dog. Anyway, that is why I don't like, so when I was coming in here and I saw him and I told him that story, right? My neighbor. Now I'm back to my neighbor and him letting his little girl ride her car in the middle of the street, as well as a couple of the other neighbors. And I told him about it. And he says, Jamaica, it could happen. It could happen. I put Kinsley outside on her little tricycle, and I went inside for a minute, and I came back out, and she was gone. So he's running around the neighborhood, right? This is a story he tells me. He's running around the neighborhoods, frantic. Couldn't find his daughter, one of his daughters, because he has 2 of them. And he ran. I mean, the man is a big guy. He's like 6'4". He's a force to be reckoned with. Imagine a 6-foot man running around your neighborhood looking for a kid. He's lucky he was not a minority, because they would have thought he stole something. He was running. He said he was running. He didn't know where to look. He just kept on running. He said he just kept on running and running and running and running. And you know where he found her? Around the corner at his best friend's house. And he didn't find her. The best friend called him and said, hey, your daughter is at my house. And so he runs over there after he ran. I guess he said he ran everywhere. Couldn't find her. So the friend calls him, say, yeah, your baby is over my house. And so he goes to the friend's house, and now he knows she's safe, right? Goes to the friend's house, and he asked her, why did you leave? She said she wanted to visit his friend. So she left. And she knew how to get there because she had been there plenty of times because they're best friends. She just walked. She had to be 2. She walked 1, 2, 3 blocks. And these are long blocks around here. to their friend's house and rang the doorbell to go visit. You got to watch your kids. Watch your children. They'll disappear on you. And everybody's not a nice person. There are bad people out there. Anyway, CPS called, back to the other story of the kids on the side of the highway. CPS called and we gave them a report. I don't know if anything happened to the mom. She just looked like she was just, maybe she had a night job. I'm making excuses for her because I can't believe that she would put them out there like that. I can't, maybe she fell asleep on a lawn chair. She was obviously sleeping. You could tell when somebody had just woken up. And she probably freaked out, just like my neighbor did, and started running like a crazy woman to go find them. Luckily, they didn't get hit by a car. Or she wouldn't have had any kids. Or she would have had one kid. If that little boy had followed that dog, it would have been all over. It would have been all over. So, enough of the stories. It's Mother's Day. And I don't know how I got on that, but I did. Maybe it's just to maybe I'm helping somebody out. Because kids will get out. They know how to open doors. They know how they know how to do things. And you'd be surprised how much they watch you. How did she know what a friend's house was? She was only 2. Some of these houses look exactly alike. How does she know? You gotta watch your kids. They're smart. Smart. Too smart for their own good. And trusting for their own good. All right, here we go. I am down to the nitty gritty. I got about 6 more to do. Got about 6 more to do. Man, this thing is gonna be long. Me and my big mouth talking and telling you the stories that have happened or the things that I have witnessed. Luckily, nothing really bad happened in most of the stories, so that's a blessing. That is a blessing because I don't take things well like that, especially when it comes to children. I get real upset when something happens to a kid. Somebody older dies. They've had a chance to experience life and they've had their chance. But when a little baby dies like that, no, or gets injured, seriously injured, I don't take that good. All right, running out of soil. Oh, I got some in here, huh? I have some in here. I'm just gonna take these out. This table is a mess anyway. Where's that last one? Not gonna leave no seedling left behind. Where you at? Come on now. Give me a hard time. There it is. All right, so we got this one right here. Another one down, another one down, another one. Tired of reaching down. I got soil right here that I could use. Oh man. Okay. Pink is the new blue. Oh gosh. Pink is the new blue. And this one, they stuck together on this big old clump of... Oh, okay, I got you. Quit getting in there. I don't have enough. Man, I don't have enough. I am one short. Ain't that something? One. All right. I'll get back up after I finish these two. Should I plant these two? I'm planting them together. I ain't getting up. I still got a cough, y'all. Doing the best I can. Still got a cough. Whatever I caught in Florida was a bad deal. It's a good thing my immune system is you know, okay. I'd have been in trouble. It was either in Florida or somewhere else. I had hit so many little islands. I was on a cruise. And you don't know what you're exposed to. You're in a petri dish when you're on a cruise. Somebody has something, most likely 100 people going to catch it if it's contagious. So if you have a weak immune system, wear a mask and stay away from them. Now, I'm not telling you not to go, but be careful. This is the second time I've gotten sick on a cruise ship. All right, so I am done. Let's do inventory. Lord have mercy. Let's put them in some kind of order so that I can count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36. 36 seedlings in all. Yay! Out of this little one plat. 36 is a lot. That's a lot of kale right there. And I didn't use the whole pack of seeds. Here's the seeds. I thought I just used a little bit. Well, I guess I'll be eating a lot of kale or canning a lot of kale. That's probably what I'll do. Now, that's another thing we need to talk about. You need to start buying your if you're a canner and if you can stuff, you know, you can freeze it also. But if you can your food, start buying your cans now because they're going to disappear real soon. All the people who can food are going to start hunting for the jars and the lids. So get them before they disappear. This is Jamerica 5288. I've talked enough. I am so thankful for you all being with me on this beautiful day. The sun is out, but it rained, so it's very humid out there. And I hope your day is going well. I hope you have a blessed Mother's Day. I hope if you're a father who is acting as a mother, that you have a blessed day also. Grandma, same thing. If you just have dogs and cats, anybody can serve as a matriarch of a family. So I thank you all for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week, wonderful year, wonderful life. And I'll see you on the next one, all right? Bye.